All right, Abby Jones here, thrilled to be joined with none other than Jon Morosi. Jon, you've been with the MLB Network since 2016 and just such a dominant presence in Major League Baseball. Great to have you here.
Well, Abby, thank you so much for the invitation. You do such great work. Of course, I've known your dad for many, many years, so it's a pleasure to be on your show today. Thank you so much.
It's awesome. It's so fun that the winter meetings are here in Dallas. This is my first experience, but you've been around the game so long. What do you love so much about winter meetings?
Winter meetings are great, Abby. It's like a reunion, a chance to meet new people as well, which is what I love, is that it's important for all of us who cover the game and are involved in baseball. We have to keep changing and updating our perspectives on the game, and you do that by meeting great baseball people who love to talk about the game and share their own experiences. And so you look around this lobby, you've got people who are bat manufacturers, people who are very deep into the analytics world, teams from all around the world, from Korea, from Japan, scouts from Latin America who come here. So you really get to meet everybody, and it's important that, I often say, Abby, that the relationships that you build at places like this will carry you through the next season. This is where, when a new player gets called up, you might have heard about him at the Rule 5 draft, getting ready, which of course is tomorrow here at the winter meeting. So it's a lot of the small stuff. Yes, we talk about Juan Soto, but Juan Soto really, from an industry standpoint, is actually he's just one player among many that we're all talking about right now.
Yeah, and what makes his expertise just top notch is that you're able to talk about every single team in Major League Baseball. I want to pick your brain a little bit about the Texas Rangers. The number one priority that Bruce Bochy, Chris Young have said is Nathan Eovaldi. What are you hearing on your side of things?
I think Eovaldi is really important for the Rangers to keep him in Arlington because of all that he means, and you know from covering the team, his value on and off the field. There is certainly some interest in him around the industry. Teams like the Yankees, who have had him before, the Red Sox have had him before, the Braves, I know, like him as well. Other clubs that you might think would be involved in starting pitching, like the Cardinals, are probably not. So the number of teams that are involved in the Eovaldi pursuit might be a little smaller than you would expect, but the teams that are in there are really in there because they're those that can spend well. So I think the Rangers are going to probably have to stretch their comfort zone to bring him back. And I really think, Abby, for a lot of reasons, he is so crucial. Yes, they're excited about what DeGrom can bring, but can you really count on him for 200 innings right now, or even 170? So I think that for that reason, the Rangers have to look to being able to fill out this rotation with a little bit more reliability, and you and I both know how reliable Nate Eovaldi has been throughout his career.
Absolutely. And the Rangers, have said he's priority number one and number two. If they do get Nathan Eovaldi, where do you see this team being in 2025?
Well, it's a very competitive division, and certainly the Astros, even as they're in a bit of a transition too, we'll see what happens for them with Bregman. Are they really serious about trading Kyle Tucker? There's interest in Kyle Tucker, but getting a deal done, I think, is a very different conversation. Exactly. So I think we know the Astros are still there. The Mariners, I think, are a really intriguing team. They want to improve, and they want to find a way to push that lineup over the finish line into being a legitimate ALCS or World Series contender, but they probably have to move some money to do it. We've heard rumblings of a Luis Castillo trade potentially. So the division, as much as 2024 was a disappointment for the reigning World Series champion Rangers, they're not that far away. And I think with a healthier year from Lowe, obviously, and I think the outfield in general, we've seen players emerge, and Garcia certainly is a threat anytime he's at the plate. So there's a lot to like, even beyond the outstanding middle of the infield that they've got. You look at Young, you look at Heim, players that have shown flashes of being all-stars, that I think that their future is still very bright. And if the Rangers just have a normal year from a standpoint of position player health, then they may only be that one starting pitcher and one reliever away from being right back in a playoff position.
Were you shocked to hear that Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, took such a big deal to come here after just such a tough season the year before, 100+ losses, and that CY was able to kind of get that deal done?
Yeah, Abby, that day, I still remember it well, because actually I came here, we were covering the bargaining sessions at the time between MLB and the union, and they were all happening in Dallas. And that day, if you remember, that was the last day before the lockout started. And it was the doubleheader of press conferences. And so I covered them both. I was there, I think it was Marcus first, and then Corey, I believe, was the order. But it's a day that I remember very, very well, because certainly there was a lot of uncertainty surrounding the industry at the time. But that's where, Abby, it's so important when you're a team that knows who you are and where you're at, even when there's uncertainty surrounding you, if you can be laser focused on knowing what you have to do, as the Rangers were at that time, the rewards are there for years to come. That's exactly what happened. And that one day, they changed the franchise. They brought that World Series title. Without that investment in the midst of the uncertainty, there is no pennant flying in Arlington, Texas. So I think it's a very important day, and I'm glad you brought it up, because it's times like this that really drive home the importance of ownership commitment, which the Rangers have had for so many years.
And the return on investment was so quick because it was under the leadership of Bruce Bochy. And thank God for Bruce Bochy and what he's offered to the game of baseball. But just what have you thought about the Rangers under Bruce Bochy's 2 years, and also his pattern with, World Series championships and being out the next year and following up the year after?
Right. Good news for the Rangers, I would say, Abby, in that standpoint, with Bochy's schedule, you could say, of winning in every other year. He's a Hall of Fame manager. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
And I really admire that he always comes in to a situation or a new year with a lot of openness and curiosity, and he strikes me. People look at him and say, "Oh, he's been in the game for so long and he's old school." Nah, he's not really. He does a really good job, I think, of blending the old school and new school, and he relates to the young players really well. He's also the kind of guy where if you're reliable for him, and if you give that maximum effort every day, the way that Seager and Semien do, and the way that so many people in the organization have, and Eovaldi is a classic case of someone that just gives that A-level effort and is a total pro, then you're in and you're good with him for good.
Yeah.
And I think that's something where he will defend his players. You go back to San Francisco, and there were times when Sandoval, for example, was ups and downs, and Bruce was steady. And I think that...
Called him the thermostat today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's him. And I think that for Bruce Bochy to be that steady, it was true in San Francisco. It was true certainly for the Rangers. And listen, even on the way to the World Series, there were some ups and downs. There were the games that they lost at home, certainly to the Astros, where there were some really big time tests for the Rangers at that time. And Bruce and his calmness, I think, won the day. So I'm always impressed by Bruce Bochy. I've always enjoyed my conversations with him over the years, and what a great person to represent the game. So I think all Ranger fans are really fortunate to have him as the leader of the team.
And absolutely thrilled to have you join us. Insight like no other. That is why he's on MLB Network, one of the best in the industry. Jon, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Abby. Happy winter meetings, happy holidays, and anytime. I'll always enjoy our conversations. Thanks so much.
Thank you.